The anti-crime NGO Action Society is concerned about the latest spike in child killings. 2 teenage girls were shot and killed in separate shootings in the Western Cape. Joining us now to expand is Ian Cameron from Action Society. Ian, very good afternoon to you. Thank you for joining us. It's been a week of absolute carnage in parts of Cape Town. Talk to us about these shocking crimes.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for the discussion. It absolutely has been a week of carnage. So the week actually started on the previous Sunday when a lady, a 27-year-old lady, Leanne Bailey, was shot 4 times in her home in Delft as well. And then unfortunately after that, things just got worse. On Women's Day, a 14-year-old girl called Akila Schroeder was shot in what seems to be gang crossfire. But I think the ironic part of her tragic murder is the fact that she was meant to testify in her own rape case later on in the week, and the fact that it happened on Women's Day. And a few days later, another teenager, a 13-year-old girl named Danica, was also shot. She luckily survived but had to get serious surgery done over the weekend. And then on Friday, the tragic news of a baby's head that was found in Brackenfell, close to the train track. So really a horrific week in terms of children getting hurt because of violent crime in and around Cape Town. And
we've seen, just looking at these statistics around crime and child murders, indication that child murders are on the rise, and speaking to stats that showed that there was an 8.9 increase in murder overall, and that about 3.5% of that increase is in attempted murder compared to a year ago. Really speaking to some serious action that needs to take place, especially when it comes to police who've often been accused of being reactive.
Absolutely, and I think this is the frustrating part. I was at court this morning at the Bellville Magistrates Court with some of the community leaders from Delft that handed over a memorandum to the court manager, and they also handed over a memorandum last week to the Delft police station. And there's a real frustration because of the lack of coordination between courts and the police, and it seems that there's a divide between the Department of Justice and the police department, and it's as though they're not working with, let's call it a synchronized effort to ensure that investigation is done properly and that there are actually convictions. I mean, we see all these murder, rape statistics, etc., and they are horrific and they are increasing at alarming rates. But what bothers me is the fact that the conviction rates are so low. Remember, in terms of murder, we've got less than a 20% successful conviction rate. So a lot of murderers are walking free because of poor whether it's investigations that are done or poor prosecutions. The fact of the matter is they are walking. And on top of that, we've got less than a 6% conviction rate for sexual offences and less than an 8% conviction rate for rape in South Africa. So if we're talking about something like Women's Month, it really is a tragedy that women aren't actually protected in South Africa. In fact, I think things are getting worse on a daily basis.
And when it comes to gender-based violence crimes, I mean, a lot of experts within the space have spoken to the police force, saying that there are fewer police who are on that beat to attend to such matters.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the South African Police Service currently has 1,300 less detectives than what it had 2 years ago. We've got more than 20,000 less South African Police Service members than what we had 10 years ago. And that, while the population is increasing, for almost 2 years we didn't train any new recruits. So there's a massive problem with boots on the ground. Obviously, boots on the ground does play an important role, but that being said, it also isn't beneficial to just push a lot of student constables into positions hoping that it will solve the problem, because they don't have the experience. And we're losing members that are going on early retirement or that are retiring or going to the private sector because of the frustrating conditions that they work in. There are stations like a Grassy Park or a Delft that are severely outnumbered compared to what the average prescribed amount of police members to civilians should be. So the UN prescribed average is more or less 300 people per police member. And in parts of, for example, the Cape Flats and many other spaces in the country, it's more than 700 per police member. So more than double the capacity is needed. And the police are working under severe pressure. And then lastly, what I must mention is the fact that some detectives have more than 300 dockets on their table. So that means one human being has to somehow focus on 300 different investigations, and it's humanly impossible to do good work if you've got that amount of work that needs to be done.
Absolutely heartbreaking. Thank you so much for speaking to us about this. Ian Cameron from Action Society saying that more needs to be done when it comes to tackling crimes, especially those now which have affected gender-based violence crimes, saying that there's not enough boots on the ground for that speed.